Hello, Watem here, and welcome back to some more Umineko When They Cry. Continuing on with 07th month's version of it, rather than Project Umineko, because the installation process of that involves getting the PS3 version and other things, which for a couple of bug fixes and adding animation to some effects, I don't particularly feel is worth the hassle. In any case, let's continue. Until the Meiji (1868 to 1912) and Taisho (1912 to 1926) eras, the Ushiromiya family was great and prosperous. They owned several spinning mills, making them rich enough to just double over laughing every day as money kept rolling in. Incidentally, grandfather was a member of the branch family and had pretty much nothing to do with the main family. Not only was he way down the list of people who could inherit the headship, but he had hardly any contact with the glamorous main family. However, during the Great Counter-Earthquake in the year Taisho 12, 1923, the mansion owned by the Ushiromiya family in Odawara was flattened. The spinning mills in Tokyo were all burnt down in a huge fire. The Ushiromiya family lost most of its wealth and family members in an instant. So, once they started trying to figure out who the successor to the Ushiromiya family should be, they apparently found no one remaining except Kinzo and his branch family. In Kinzo's later reminiscences, he referred to this as good fortune, so great that it overturned fate. With that, grandfather's boring everyday life did a 180. He was entrusted with reviving the dying Ushiromiya family, which had lost nearly all of its wealth. However, just because he had been entrusted with this task didn't mean he could accomplish it. Apparently, those around him weren't really expecting much. However, this is when grandfather started displaying his extraordinary talents and good luck. Grandfather used all of the family's remaining wealth, as well as everything from the hair on his head to his toenails, as collateral in order to borrow a massive amount of money. Once he'd built up a gigantic war chest, he immediately invested in businesses. It was like someone tumbling down a hill on a bike without any brakes, and then jumping onto a neighboring bike, and then another one. Just like some crazy street performance. I wish everyone thought grandfather had no business ability whatsoever. However, after several miracles and turns of good luck, with coincidences piling up and every chance taken advantage of, he was suddenly in control of powerful connections with the occupying forces. At that time, Mackerel from the GHQ of the ultimate authority in Japan. Grandfather, in a twinkle of an eye, began succeeding in business under the protection of the occupying forces, quickly becoming very rich. By this point, it's probably safe to say that information, not luck, saved the day. He must have made some seriously deep connections with the occupying forces. Grandfather knew beforehand about emergency demands that would be made for the Korean War. No, it was more than that. He must have predicted those emergency demands from the very beginning when he started investing his money. The history books make it sound like all of Japan made a large profit off of the emergency demands during the Korean War, but that isn't actually true. Only a very limited number of super rich played the money game and made an easy profit. Most of the citizens remained poor. In other words, grandfather was a member of this extremely lucky group of winners. I'm pretty sure this all happened during the year Showa 25, 1950 or so. The Great Counter-Earthquake happened in Taisho 13, 1924, so that means grandfather was able to revive the near-dead Ushiromiya family in only about 20 years, to a level even higher than it had ever been before. With that, you'd think he'd revive the main family in Odawara, but no. But for some reason, he went and did something as crazy as buying an entire small island in the Izu archipelago. Buying an entire island is not something that you can ordinarily do today. However, grandfather was clever. He contacted the GHQ and applied for the establishment of a marine resource base. He acquired this island as a business property, then tossed that project aside and claimed it as his own plot of land. After the war, there were prevention measures against food shortages, and having the sponsorship of the GHQ meant that nobody could oppose him. From what I've heard, the Tokyo metropolis of that day offered this land to him practically for free. Later, Tokyo made difficult use by telling Kinzo to return the land, but the pushy GHQ intervened. Anyway, it seems under-the-table bribes did their work well. In the end, the city gave up in frustration. Grandfather, with considerable skill and good luck, managed to weather the stormy seas of that period, obtaining a vast fortune in his own island. Of course, it probably wasn't all luck. This witch Beatrice, he was obsessed with all things Western, which helped him cultivate his English skills. He was able to use this to his advantage and sink his teeth into the GHQ. A mansion was built on the island soon after. This mansion, in fact. Really? Wow, surprise. Grandfather, with his love of Western style, made this once uninhabited island a canvas upon which he could realize his dreams to his heart's content. He now had the Western mansion of his dreams, overflowing with emotion and atmosphere, and a beautiful garden featuring all sorts of roses. And he had a private beach, where nobody other than himself would ever be permitted to leave a footprint. This would be a dream come true for any boy. After that, he made good use of his huge fortune, becoming a large stockholder in the extremely stable iron and steel industry, and was able to live an easy and comfortable life just using the dividends. Well, he's just fat and credible. This kind of person usually has the ability to foresee and predict the future, or at least that's how they're portrayed after the fact. But Grandfather denies all of that, repeatedly saying that he was simply blessed with extraordinary luck. Anyway, even a lord like that can't help but grow increasingly eccentric when locked up alone on an island where all his dreams are made real. Everyone knows that he's had a Western obsession from the start, but none of our parents really know when his bizarre black magic hobby began. Did his love of black magic begin way back when he became fascinated with everything Western? Or did his miraculous stretch of good luck while reviving his family cause him to feel mysterious power in himself? Or did his love of black magic come... Well, did his fascination with everything Western come afterwards with his love of black magic and Beatrice, I assume? At some point, Grandfather began to make the research of black magic his life's work. He filled his study up with suspicious books, chemicals, and magical items as he became increasingly bizarre. From what I've heard, those around him warmly, watched over him, figuring that someone who'd achieved success in life had a right to do as he pleased. But there's no way that's true. They were probably just creeped out thinking, that's disgusting, I don't want to get involved. Anyway, that agitated period was an age of big gambles with both opportunities and risks. They say Grandfather was born in this time period. Let's say Grandfather was born in this time period. He would have had no opportunities and would probably have advanced like a chess piece from mandatory education to college at a leisurely pace, never becoming more than an average salaryman. If that happened, he'd probably have sat somewhere, happily talking behind his boss's back. No, not in a fancy dining hall like this. More like at a table in some bar. Then again, I'll bet his family conference would be a whole lot more relaxing if that were the case. Okay, that's enough about the old geezer. More importantly, let's talk about this incredible lunch.
前菜の刺身のサラダで俺はすでに確信してたね。幸田さんは大したシェフだぜ。しかも魚は近海で取れたやつだろ。スーパーの刺身とはわけが違ったぜ。おいおいよせよバッター。育ちがバレちまうだろうな。
Everyone let out a big laugh. Damn it! You say that even though you love those cheap pubs.
僕も仕事の都合で珍しいところで食事をすることもあるけど、それらと比べてもこれはかなりのものだよ。ゴーダさんは多分その道じゃ少しは知られた人だったんじゃないかな。
よくは知らねえんだけどよ。老舗ホテルでのれん分けだか派閥の分裂だかややこしいことがあってよ。そのトラブルで辞めざるを得なくなっちまったんだってさ。
What is being forced to retire perhaps relate to him not wanting to look bad and putting all the blame on the other servants that we've seen? And I'm pretty sure that would make other servants not like him very much.
それでその時偶然おふくろが使用人の求人を出してたわけなんだよ。
As Gohda removed the empty plates, he began to recount his own bumpy past without losing his smile.
世の中というのは難しいものです。しかし、そのおかげでこうして今日、後宮家で再び料理人として腕を振るう機会を賜ることができました。大勢の方の笑顔も嬉しいですが、お仕えすると決めた限られた方々にだけ喜んでいただくために繊細なお仕事ができるのもとても楽しいことでございます。これもすべて機会をくださった奥様のおかげです。
Gohda-san respectfully bowed his head towards Aunt Natsuhi.
応募のあった中でゴーダが一番腕が良かったからです。客観的判断に基づくもので市場はありませんので感謝には及びません。
Dang, why does Aunt Natsuhi always have to sound so indifferent? If only she spoke with a bit more kindness, she might leave a different impression. Shannon-chan and Kumasawa-san entered from the hallway with a serving cart.
失礼いたします。
それでは本日のデザートに移らせていただきます。
Gohda-san and the others laid the beautifully adorned dessert out in front of us all. I guess it's true when they say you have another stomach for dessert. In fact, that is very multicultural, the idea of a dessert stomach. And like developed in multiple places around the world. Basically because you see sugar and you old hunter-gatherer brain just goes, ooh, food, sugar reserves. We can't get that off and you need to stock up, and so you like kind of feel like you have more room in your stomach. Anyway. I thought I'd already filled up on delicious food, but as soon as I laid eyes on that dessert, my stomach started yelling more. I don't know much about desserts, but this looked really good. A white pudding-like substance was garnished with 2 shades of red sauce, and elegant rose petals adorned the dish. Normally, during a high-class meal like this, you're supposed to wait for the chef to extol the virtues of this particular meal before eating. However, Maria was completely indifferent to strict rules like that, so she got excited by this beautiful and delicious-looking dessert, jumping into the fray as soon as it was placed before her. Aunt Rosa scolded her, calling it bad manners, but George responded by saying, "No, it's okay." Maria exclaimed as she sampled the 2 coloured sauces.
なんだと？当たりと外れがあるのかよ。よし、俺も味見をしてやるぜ。
Apparently, one sauce was sweet and the other sour. Despite it being bad manners, I also stuck my little finger in and licked it. Whoa, one of these sauces was sour enough to make you pucker up. If it were yellow, I'd have suspected lemon, but I couldn't guess what kind of sourness would be red. I decided to ask Shannon, who was putting away the serving cart behind us.
シャノンちゃん、この酸っぱいのは何のソースだい？
Shannon-chan hesitated. Maybe her job was just to set the table, so she doesn't really know. Still, even considering that, she seems pretty stressed. Maybe I shouldn't have asked. Or did they use some ingredient that we'd be better off not knowing about? Oh, Natsuhi made a gesture that seemed to indicate an oncoming headache. Kumasawa-san, who was setting the table at the opposite seat, began to chuckle.
何の材料を使っていると思いますか？驚きますよ。
Right.
全然わかんねえぜ。というか、熊沢のばあさんがそういう笑い方すると不気味でならねえぜ。で、何なんだよ、正体は。
内緒ですよ。お耳を拝借。
I feel like she's not actually going to tell the truth. Kumasawa leaned across from the other side of the table. It feels like this is a joke of some kind. I leaned forward myself and she asked. Their interest caught. Jessica, George Anarchy, and of course Maria also put their ears closer.
この酸っぱいのはですね、実はお魚のサバの絞り汁ですよ。
That's how.
サバ
That's crazy, we all thought, horrified. Only Maria accepted it, nodding sagely.
ほー。サバは酸っぱいよ。絞ったらこうなる。
When Maria started clamoring that mackerel were sour, the adults were unable to contain their laughter.
違うわよ。酸っぱいのはしめサバでしょ。
Ah, now I totally remember. Kumasawa-san was always like this, wasn't she? I think I remember her tricking me too in all sorts of ways when I was young. The most lethal has got to be that one. Those flimsy black things in Chinese dishes. Her kikurage mushrooms. She told me they were penguin meat, and I went all around school like a smartass, telling everyone, didn't I?
熊沢のばあちゃん、相変わらずだな。マリアが信じちゃうだろ？
冗談ですよ。今からゴーダさんがソースの正体を教えてくれますからね。
Gohda looked a little put off about his masterpiece being laughed at for such a bizarre reason. But after clearing his throat once, he introduced the dessert to us.
それではデザートのご説明をさせていただきます。
Yeah, I feel like maybe like a wild raspberry, maybe something to get red, and being tart, I guess.
本日はご来賓の皆様が大層お気に入りでございましたバラの庭園にちなみましてパンナコッタをローズガーデン風に仕上げてみました。散らしてございますバラの花びらは当家の庭園より先ほど採取してきたものでございます。ソースはストロベリーとローズヒップの2色の赤をご用意しました。ストロベリーの甘味とローズヒップの酸味を交互にお楽しみになってください。なお花びらは観賞用となっておりますので避けてからお召し上がりくださいませ。それではどうぞお楽しみください。
Whoa, man, I almost want to applaud before eating. Just like with medicine, reading the detailed description first seems to make it work a whole lot better. As Gohda-san elaborated on the details of his dessert, it started to feel even more appetizing. Seriously, should you call him subtle or just talented? The dessert was probably planned from the beginning, but taking the hint when we all stopped in front of the rose garden earlier today, he displayed an incredible and timely awareness just by adding a few rose petals from that garden. This combination of sweet and sour was also exquisite. If it was just sweet, you'd just get used to it and bored halfway through. but if you reach for sour swords at that point, you get a really vivid taste. And then, once you return to the sweet sauce, all the sourness in your mouth would be replaced with an enjoyable sweetness. I'm sure everyone else felt the same way. Every time Gohda-san passed by one of our seats, someone praised the taste in his presentation.
いかがですか、奥様。
相変わらず見事です。お客様をおもてなしするに値します。
恐れ入ります。奥様、ご存知ですか？ローズヒップには頭痛に効く効果もあるそうですよ。奥様に特にお気に入りいただけるかと思い、特別にご用意させていただきました。
そう。ありがとう。
ほら言ったでしょ、夏日姉さん。ローズヒップは頭痛に効くって。
みたいね。
It's something about rosehip tea, wasn't it? I think.
聞くといいんだけど。
ゴーダさん、あんたには惚れるで。なあ、後であんたの待遇を聞かせてや。無理ならあんたの欲しい年収、呼び立ててくれるだけでもいいんや
Yeah,
で。
trying to pull for him.
あんたの腕がこの島だけで独占されとるのは人類の食文化に対する冒涜や。その腕、わしの会社で振るってお客の皆さんを喜ばせてみる気はないかのう。
秀吉さん、うちのゴーダを引き抜かれるのですか？これは困った。ゴーダの待遇をもっと良くしないと引き抜かれてしまいそうだ。
そうした方がいいわね。じゃないと引き抜かれて3食が熊沢さんのサバ料理にされちゃうわよ。
これは手厳しゅうございます。すっかり根に持たれてしまいまして。
Everyone let out a huge laugh. According to Jessica, Kumasawa-san's mackerel jokes were a running gag that our parents had long since gotten used to. Kumasawa-san often claimed that mackerels had precious nutritional value, which could slow aging, make people smarter and more. Supposedly, while it couldn't stop the outward signs of aging, it helped prevent aging on the inside. Since she was still spirited enough to tell these kinds of jokes at her age, there must be something to that theory.
それでは失礼いたします。夕食にはふるってたくさんのサバ料理をお召し上がりいただきますので、どうぞご期待くださいませね。
期待してるよ。今晩はしめ鯖でキュッとしゃれ込みたいぜ。
それは素敵ね。ついでに日本酒の美味しいのも出てこないかしら。
ええ、ございますよ。六軒島名物のサバ焼酎なるものがございまして。
Kumasawa-san, together with Shannon-chan, bowed and pushed the serving cart away. It was pretty funny to watch Gohda-san. He looked like his show had totally been stolen, explaining in a serious voice that we'd be having calf steak for dinner.
熊沢さん、さっきはありがとうございました。
As she pushed the serving cart, Shannon bowed her head very deeply.
なんもお礼を言われることなんてありません。
Kumasawa may have played dumb, but she had obviously understood and saved Shannon in the nick of time. Back when Battler had asked about dessert, Shannon had unfortunately hesitated. There may have been several ways to dodge the question, but all of them would have required some quick wits. Shannon, who hesitated when hard-pressed for a response, was always suffering because of a small weakness. If only Shannon had a little of the craftiness needed to cleverly shake off a mistake like Gohda, her life would have been a bit easier. The fact that she could perform other tasks flawlessly made this weakness even more unfortunate. However, there were some who understood Shannon's honest nature, her inability to gloss over a mistake and draw attention away from it. That was why Kumasawa had smoothly come to her rescue.
さっき源氏さんが午後のシフトに変更があるとおっしゃってましたよ。
Okay.
確かシャノンさんは夕方までお休みがもらえたと思いました。
Huh.
羨ましい。
I wonder why.
すみません。シフト表を確認していませんでした。
そうそう。オーブンでこれからちょっとサバを焼こうと思ってるんですよ。できたらお休みの前にちょっと手伝ってくれると嬉しいですね。
はい。喜んでお手伝いさせていただきます。
To Shannon, Kumasawa was like a mother among the servants. The dining hall needed to be cleaned up, so we were chased out. Instead, tea was being served in the parlour. Apparently, they'd prepared the black tea that Aunt Rosa had brought for Aunt Natsuhi. Maria said she also wanted to have some black tea, but my old bastard said she couldn't and told us children to go play outside.
バトラー君、みんなで表に散歩に行かないかい？
バラでも見に行ったらええ。でも天気には十分注意するんやで。
Yeah, I was thinking, isn't there supposed to be like a monsoon or something coming?
空はまだ明るいが、天気予報は降る降ると繰り返しちょる。
マリアは海がいい。
あら素敵じゃない。砂浜で遊ぶなんて普段はなかなかできないものね。
Isn't as fun in the rain though.
そっか。
And it's probably a fair distance down to the beach.
よし。じゃあみんなで浜辺でも行こうぜ。
Oh, okay then.
マリア、服を濡らさないようにするのよ。靴もよ。
Or get sand in your shoes, because that just lasts forever.
濡らさない素直で可愛い。バトラ君、マリアちゃんの面倒、ちゃんと見てあげてね。
おうよ、任せろ。
ほう、お前もキリエに頼まれると素直で可愛いじゃねえか。たまには俺の言うことも素直に聞いてみろよ。
まっぴらごめんだぜ。行こうぜ、みんな。ほらほら。
The children flew out of the parlour. They were replaced by Genji, who pushed a serving cart in and prepared to serve the tea. The parlour was filled with a sublime aura which delighted everyone while they waited to sate their thirst.
ルドルフのところは家族仲がいいじゃないか。良いことだ。
よせよ。兄貴のところには負けるぜ。
そうよ。ジェシカちゃん、本当に可愛らしく育ったじゃない。これも夏日姉さんの教育の賜物ね。
どうも。
Natsuhi answered coldly. The conversation broke off then, and the parlour fell silent. Maybe Hideyoshi couldn't bear the silence, because he broke it himself with an exaggerated gesture.
しかし、成長は早いもんやで。いつまでも子供だと思っとったが、図体はみるみるでかくなり、いつの間にか大人の仲間入りや。バトラ君なんか見違えたで。
Oh, it has been 6 years for him compared to every year for the others.
体は大きくなりましたけど、まだ子供です。うちの主人も未だに子供ですけれど。
子供と大人の境ってどこなのかしらね。私、未だに大人になったって自覚が持てない。
Don't we all?
情けないじゃないか。一児の母の言うことではない。
そうね。私たちももう子供じゃない。大人同士よ。だから感情的にならず、知的な会話をしたいわね。
Yeah, I'd prefer the emotional one. In any case, I will be ending it there for today. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in the comments. Until next time, see ya.